1 week, 7 days, and then it's over with Calcio Mercato and Mercato. In these next 7 days will be crazy because we have a lot of situations to solve. Entry and exit Mercato. What about the situation Arthur? Will he leave, yes or not? What about Fagioli and the rumors? What about Dusan, Vlahovic and Cambiaso? Because I'm not excluding big surprises. That offer from City, will he arrive? And what will be the decision of Juve? On the other side, entry Mercato after Colomwani. After Alberto Costa, it's true that at the moment, as we speak, Renato Vega is doing the medicals. But what will be the other name? Another name? I tell you, it's extremely important for us, Tifosi, to judge that winter edition. Because if you bring us Kelly, it's one story. If you bring us Hancko, it's a different story in our interpretation. Then, of course, every single name can arrive and happen a beautiful performance, or can happen that we have a disaster performance. We know it, and it's not always the big name, the big spendings that are performing the best, and we know it, and we'll speak about that also in today's video. Look, there is one thing that is sure. In that Monday morning, Juventus looks like they felt that sense of urgency in solving problems, and the first one that should be announced in a few hours is officially terminating of the contract of Danilo that will go normally to Flamengo to join his ex-teammate Alexandro. By the way, it's the birthday of Alexandro, if I'm not wrong, so happy birthday to Alexandro. Ciao Juventini of the world, my name is Giuseppe, welcome back on the channel. I hope you're all doing well. Maximum of like if you did it yet in this Monday. Don't forget to subscribe to the channel. We reached 35,800, which is not bad. Now we continue to climb, but let's start. This one will not be only important in the Mercato session, that we'll speak about in the end of the video, but also on the field. Giuntoli takes care aside. Thiago Motta and boys, they take care of the field with 2 games this week. Benfica in Champions League, Empoli, that is actually opening the month of February, in Serie A on Sunday, on the 2nd of February. Look guys, that January, we knew it. Since the month of June, July, when we saw the official drought, that it would have been a really difficult one. We knew that this would have been a make or break in the run for Serie A. We were not expecting that that would have been an important month in the run for the top 4, because that's what it became, unfortunately, after a really bad November, after a really bad December. Look, 6 game played. We started in Riyadh with the Supercoppa that we lost, and then we had a Derby della Mole, Atalanta, Milan again in Serie A, Club Brugge in Champions League, and we finished with Napoli. We had only 1 win on 6. It's absolutely not enough. It's absolutely not enough. Even the most pessimistic Juventino would not have expected only 1 win in these 6 games. Especially if we go with 3 draws and 2 losses, which are absolutely a lot. So it's not okay. We have one opportunity to do better in the month of January, and it's the one of Benfica. Will it change a lot? Will it change a lot? No. No. Because you win, you lose, you draw, you will not be eliminated from the Champions League. And honestly, even winning, you need a miracle to enter that top 8 that we threw away after that draw against Bruges. But it's the pride. It's also to send a message to the Juventini, but also to ourselves, the players, the club. Guys, that loss of Napoli, we need to put it aside. And now we need to wake up. We need to wake up. We need to play like Simeone on that ball at the 87 minutes with our life, with our head jumping, taking that ball with that grinta that we totally lost in that second half of the Maradona Stadium on Saturday. Yeah, on Saturday. It was a total disaster. So we need to send a message also against Benfica. Then let's see who will play. Maybe you win and you will have the strong opponents. Maybe you lose and you will have the strong opponents. We don't know. We need to do our job without calculation, and that's super important. Yesterday I made a video, a long one, about the press conference or the post-game words of Thiago Motta. Thank you for watching. Seriously, I gave my opinion. Now, you always have one thing when you make a video. People, they will agree. People will disagree. People will agree, but they will transform what you said. People will disagree, transforming what you said. Look, thank you for agreeing. Thank you for disagreeing. What I didn't really appreciate was some people, they said, Beppe, we totally agree with you. Thiago Motta out. No, pay attention. I never said that. I still believe in Thiago Motta, a coach that I wanted. I still believe in a project that a lot of time this season we saw that there was some hope in something happening. I didn't appreciate the second half of Napoli, like I didn't appreciate a lot of other management of games. I didn't appreciate especially the words of Thiago. And these words were the reason why I made a video yesterday. Because some words you cannot say at Juve. After a win, after a loss, after a draw, there are some words that are not possible to say because you are giving alibis. While actually, this is the first thing at Juventus that you cannot do is finding excuses, finding alibis. And I didn't understand it. Where there were also some people that said, Beppe, you have been extremely harsh with Thiago Motta. And it's true. I have been extremely harsh. First of all, because it was a coach that I have put my face, my word on, that he was the name for the post-Allegri. Then when the coach is not doing well and I've put my face on it, I take it personally, even if I'm not the one that officially chose him. On the other side, it's not only the ego, it's not only because I loved him or not. It's also because at the moment, guys, if we continue like that, we don't make Champions League, and that's extremely important. I have always told you that it was for Sarri, for Pirlo, for Allegri 1.0, Allegri 2.0, for Lippi, for Thiago Motta. If we don't reach Champions League, we have a huge problem because a project you can believe in it. I don't expect a project that you have immediate impact. That's beautiful. That's a miracle. That's a short-term vision. When you go with project, that's a medium-long term. So you have ups and downs. But what cannot be a doubt is that qualification for Champions League. Because if you qualify for Europa League, it's a total disaster because you play the same amount of games, a lot, huge, with a minor competition, with minor entries, with being minus appetitable on the market for players to come, and probably you will have a lot of players to leave. I don't want that situation. We must qualify to Champions League. And at the moment, it's not happening at the moment. Look, we are 5th with the possibility to be 6th if Fiorentina wins their game in hand against Inter, but also Milan, if they recuperate their game and they win, they go at equalizing Juve at 37 points. So it's really a big fight. A fight that after that win against Milan, we were much more relaxed in that top 4 possibilities. Yesterday, no, and luckily in a way Lazio lost because we are at -2, but at the moment we are not in. Can these things happen? Can we do much better? Look, at the moment I made a calculation. If we're looking at the points we made in Serie A in the last 10 games, an average is 1.3. We have 37 points, which means that winning, again, an average of 1.3 per game, we will end up Serie A with 57, 58 points. If you're looking at the last 10 season who qualified in that top 4, nobody had so low points. 64 in 14-15, 67, 72, 72, 69, 78, 78, 70, 70, 78. That was the 5th spot of last year. So even if there will be a 5th spot in Serie A, if we continue with what we are doing at the moment, so 1.3 per game, victories in average, we will end up at 57, 58 points, which are far away, 10 points away from these 68 that happened last year in the top 5. It's not enough. And that's why probably I am extremely harsh on Thiago Motta, also because if we are totally honest, if we are looking at the last 15 seasons, well, we need to go back to the season 2010-2011 of Del Neri before seeing a Juventus that was doing worse than us with 35 points. This season we have 37. So I understand project. I am patient. I am not going and living in an utopia, but you need to make points, Thiago. You sincerely need to make points. Otherwise, it will be extremely difficult. What are the next game that we are playing? Well, we have a few. We have a few games that could possibly help. We have Juventus, Empoli. We have Como, Juve, Juventus, Inter, Cagliari, Juve, Juve, Verona, Juve, Atalanta, Fiorentina, Juve, a bit difficult there, and then Juve, Genoa, Roma, Juve, Juve, Lecce. So the next 10 games, you have the possibilities to do a bit more points than what we did. We need to go out from these 10 games with at least 22, 24 points to believe in having a comfortable top 4 qualifications. Otherwise, it will be extremely difficult. Miracles, do they happen? Yes. Sometimes do you have a click that turns totally the season? Yes. Look at the next gen, for example. Next gen that were really fighting for the last spot in Serie A, in Serie C, sorry. They were really fighting to avoid relegation. You had that change, that sudden change in attitude, in behavior, also a change of coach, let's be honest, but they totally turned it around, and now in the last 8 games they won 7 times. So you see, it's a team that can do miracles, a Grinta that still exists in Juve. Now that Grinta needs to come also there in that first team. What about Mercato? I told you Renato Vega arrived yesterday. I didn't do he reply, guys. I was not in the mood for a he reply, also because there were some moments in life where instead of flying, it's better to keep the feet on the ground. So I'm sorry, Renato Vega. I hope that I will have the chance to celebrate your debut in Serie A, your first goal in Serie A, your top performance, and I will ask forgiveness to not having been there together with you yesterday when you landed in Caselle. This morning, he is doing the medical, so probably this afternoon training session with Juve. If not, he will join the team tomorrow, but not being able to play, of course, in Champions League. Now, we know that. What about Mercato? The other things that still need to happen. I told you there are 2 players who will arrive first. Todibo or Kelly. Kelly or Todibo. Todibo or Kelly. And these names are on the top of the list. Kelly, there is a problem. According to Mercato Voices, Matteo Moretto, they're telling us, look, Juventus, they found an agreement with the player. Okay, fine, but there is a problem on the formula. What is the formula saying? That Juventus, they want a loan with maximum an option, while Newcastle, they say, we want a permanent transfer. At max a loan with an obligation to buy. With Juventus, they don't want to go for it. While on Hancko, we all know it, is still a name that is there on top of Juve list. But for Hancko, there is one thing that is extremely important. What about Cambiaso? Cambiaso could leave. It's not the only one. Also, Douglas Luiz that again entered against Napoli in a way that I'm saying, guy, look, we are losing, my friend. We are losing. A sense of urgency will be okay. Will he leave or not? I don't know. Will Cambiaso leave or not? I don't know. I just know that if these 2 players leave, you have that cash to go for a Hancko. What I always told you since the beginning of the Mercato, a lot will depend on what we will cash in. You cash in for Cambiaso, especially Cambiaso, you can go for Hancko. Otherwise, you don't go for it. At the moment, I told you, and I repeat you, Feyenoord has still the same position. We don't want to sell Hancko. And Juve in the month of January. Then in June, yes, now not, except if you bring us the money. Then we can even possibly discuss in the last days of the Mercato, so we are speaking about the 30th, after the Champions League, big huge day of the 29th where everyone will play simultaneously. But it's not over. We also have other things to solve. Not only entry and exit Mercato, but also the players that are here. Because if you're thinking about it, what are we missing in this Juve? What is really missing in this Juve? The big players that are not performing. Because Danilo, that is a big player, in the locker room, in the aura, in the attitude, was a break, is leaving. But then you have still players that are still there and they're not finding the smiles. We are speaking, first of all, about Dusan Vlahovic. Dusan Vlahovic, that is a player that is not playing as a starter since already 3 games. It's a player that is in huge big doubts. When he enters, it's a total disaster. It's a flop. Last game against Napoli, he entered, he touched in 13, 14, 15 minutes. He touched 1 ball and he missed it. We know that Dusan Vlahovic is a problem with his contract extension, so pay attention to Dusan Vlahovic. We need to find a way. But Cope Manners, can we speak about Cope Manners? Cope Manners that is at the moment technically the biggest flop of this Juventus, honestly, if we are doing the comparison what we spend for him and what is performing. I like Cope Manners as a person. I had the opportunity to speak with him, to interview him, to see the sparkle in the eyes about how happy he was to be at Juve. I don't doubt about the professionality about the player, about him being happy to represent Juve, but now he needs to perform because at the moment Dusan Vlahovic is missing. Cope Manners is missing. Douglas Luiz is missing. And Cope is even worse than Douglas because Cope is playing. Probably we should alternate a bit. taking away a bit of playing time from Koopmeiners, a bench would not be bad. While Douglas Luiz, I always told you I need to see him, and from the beginning of the game, not from the last 5 minutes, 10 minutes where he's totally makes no sense to let it. He's not a player that enters a game. He's a player that starts a game. Maybe we should alternate. I don't understand. Koopmeiners should not be untouchable, especially if we go towards the words of Thiago Motta in the beginning of the season. Meritocracy. Well, at the moment, the meritocracy, maybe he wins it in training session, but not on the field. So a change there would be appreciated, I believe, by a lot of fans, and maybe we can see something. I'm not saying exclude totally Cope, and I don't want to see him anymore, but maybe a few games. Look, we have Benfica, where we already qualified. We have Empoli, and then we have Como. And maybe it should be nice for Cope to rest a bit, to come back with his mental state, and then play and deliver us the real Cope that we are all waiting for. It's not all dark, guys. Conceição, Kalulu, Kefren Thuram, our three players are performing, and if the premises are that Colomwani continues to do what he did in the first half against Napoli, maybe Renato Vega, maybe the new defender, maybe Alberto Costa, when we will finally see him, will also start to perform. I don't know. Guys, this was a video about state of mind of Juve, the games on the field, and Mercato. I hope you enjoyed it, so put a maximum of like. Don't forget to subscribe. Grazie, forza, Juve.